Hey guys, it's Adam Lavelle. I'm here. I'm going to discuss my very first bare knuckle fighting championship show. I just started watching this stuff, but man, I have fallen in love with it. Bare Knuckle 75 was a terrific show. Absolutely made me a massive fan. I've espoused this on other videos on my wrestling pages because I had to say goodbye to professional wrestling. Almost a 50-year fan of that stuff. I was even involved in it on the independent scene, but I'm not here to talk about pro wrestling. Just wanted to throw that out there. And it's been sort of disappointing me for a while now. Just can't get into it the way I used to, and that's hard for me to believe. Remember, 50 years. I've been a massive fan, as you can see, my collection behind me. So for me to give it up and walk away, it had to be for something better, more exciting, more gripping, more real, if you will. And if there's anything that describes that, it's BKFC, Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. And after I watched number 75, I went back and watched number 74, and it was every bit as good as 75, if not better. So this stuff, man, this is what it's all about. Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship is boxing without any gloves. I mean, it's just the simplest way to put it. There might be some rule tweaks and that such here. Try to keep fighters from getting injured, from getting hurt. The first rule tweak, and we're not going to go over them all, but the first rule tweak that they have is that these fights are 5 rounds, 2 minutes each. I love it. I love it because, like I said, it prevents fighters from getting hurt or tries to prevent that from happening. There are going to be injuries in any kind of sport, especially fisticuffs, right? But 2-minute rounds? This stuff flies by. You don't got to waste unbelievable amount of your time watching 2 excellent fighters work a match, meaning they take their time, they circle, they engage slowly, they're trying to measure each other up. You get some of that, of course, in this, because you have to measure, you have to figure out where your fighting is going to start and where it's going to end, right? But 2-minute rounds? You don't have much time to mess around. They gotta get at it, and boy, do they ever. And this stuff just excites me like nothing since professional wrestling, except this, as legitimate as it comes. Anybody can win at any second. I have seen guys getting pounded come back with one good uppercut to the chin and win the fight that they were losing handedly. So let's take a look at the show coming up tonight. This is the 14th of June, 2025. This is BKFC Fight Night Mohegan. This is from the Mohegan Sun Arena in Uncasville, Connecticut. I probably butchered that. Uncasville, Uncasville, Connecticut. But look, no matter where this comes from, no matter where this originates from, this is always good. Now, let me talk about Fight Night. If you're familiar with UFC, and I am to a degree, I used to be a big UFC fan, but way back in the day of Iceman, Chuck Liddell, and Matt Hughes, and those guys. Haven't really loved UFC as of late. I'm not a hater of it, just not my thing. But BKFC is my thing. But much like UFC's Fight Night, these are smaller shows. I don't want to call them less important, but there typically isn't a title on the line, not often anyhow. These are guys that are just coming up, working their way up, or starting to show some promise, getting to be on a BKFC, Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship show in front of a lot of fans and in front of the internet crowd, the streaming service, DAZN, what have you, and getting to show their wear, getting to show their worth, getting to show that they deserve even more than this. Look, I enjoy guys just trying to get a footing in the sport because they're always inspired and they're always driven, and I guarantee you these guys will be as well. We're going to start down at the bottom of the page here and work our way up to the main event, of course. So that means I got to shuffle my notes a little bit and put them in a different order. I'm going to have some notes for a while until I get to know these guys big time. Okay, so my first page has got to become my last, and so forgive me for not doing this ahead of time. I didn't realize that I had the main event notes on top. Looks like as long as this card in the order it is on this page here at Bare Knuckle Fighting Championships homepage, you can click on any fight you want to see or talk about, discuss or understand or learn about. And here we're on tonight's show. And the first fight, again, if it stays in the order of this page, Randy Costa taking on Nick Burgos. Nick Burgos is 0-1 in bare knuckle. I have here that he has a lot of experience in boxing, kickboxing, and grappling. He lives and trains in Salt Lake, Utah, so that gives him an advantage in training at heights, right? If you train at heights, the oxygen's tighter, the oxygen's harder to get a grasp on. And this guy lives and trains here, so that helps his conditioning quite a bit. And most of his fights, though, have gone the distance. So Nick Burgos, he looks kind of like Wolverine now. I don't know if that's on purpose or not, but a lot of youngsters are going to love that. You know how a lot of the youngsters love the Wolverine, love the X-Men, if you will. Sort of reminds you of Logan Paul there looking at him. But most of his fights go the distance, meaning he's sort of a guy who picks his shots. He's not a guy who's going to run in and charge in and go balls to the wall. But again, this is a fight night show. You're here to be impressive. So let's see if that changes Burgos' style or not. He's fighting Randy Costa, the Zohan, if you will, kind of from the comedy movie that I did not see, but I'm familiar with that name. But ultimately, Zohan means man's ultimate potential. So that is how Randy Costa most likely sees himself. He was in the UFC priorly, which is very impressive. Anytime somebody can make it to the UFC, that's an impressive thing. He was a bantamweight fighter there. He's very technical, on borderline cocky, if you will. He has big power. He began boxing in 6th grade. And 2 years later, he added kickboxing to it. So this guy's pretty legit. Both guys, neither guy has won a fight in bare knuckle fighting championship yet. Burgos has lost a fight, so he has some experience in BKFC. Costa does not, but he's been fighting since he was in 6th grade. And like I said, he's a very confident young man. So we'll have to see that. I don't have a prediction. Maybe eventually I'll do predictions. Right now, I'm predicting hot, exciting fights. And that's the most important thing to me. Next one, we got Lardy Navarro. He's 2-1 in bare knuckle FC. That's pretty impressive. He's won 2 fights, lost 1. He's a 12-fight amateur boxing career, so lots of boxing experience. 12 fights may not sound like a lot, but 12 fights in boxing is pretty significant experience. He's aggressive. We always love the fighters when they're aggressive. I mean, no offense to Burgos, who I talked about a moment ago and said he likes to take his time and pick his shots. Navarro's the direct opposite. He will go balls to the wall. He will come out, and he believes he's very good, does Navarro, at getting himself out of tough situations. Now, he's fighting Anthony Foy, who's 1-3 in bare knuckle. Now, look, I'm taking nothing away from him. Bare knuckle fighting championship is the fighting league to be in. And to have a win and 3 losses is still impressive. That means he has lots of experience in this league. And that's something he has, well, not too much over Navarro because he's 2-1. So we got a guy with more wins than the other, about equal experience here. Anthony Foy, taking a look at some of my notes, he had an amateur MMA career, struggled with his opponent's ground game, thus why he's come over to bare knuckle boxing. He doesn't have to worry about the ground game, and he has a very high volume. So both of these guys are going to be exciting, and they're going to go at it for sure. Tough one to call there. I'm not calling any of them, though, am I? Next, we have Rick Hahn versus Sergio Lopez. Sergio Lopez is a seasoned MMA veteran. He's 0-1-0 in bare knuckle, so he has 1 fight experience. He always brings the fight, meaning he's always charging. He's always sort of, what I've read about him, I haven't seen any of them yet, sort of made me think of Clay Guida. I hate to make a comparison like that. You have to excuse me, my head is itching like crazy. I don't know if I'm bugging into my cowboy hat. There's a snake in my cowboy hat. But no, Sergio Lopez is just balls to the wall, the way I explained the other fighter a moment ago. Charges in, doesn't back down, has lost some fights because of that. But look, much like Clay Guida, and this is why I made that comparison, I love Clay Guida. I loved watching his fights. I didn't care if he won or lost. Of course, I wanted him to win more than he did. He wasn't a loser, but he lost his fair share of fights because he was super aggressive. I suspect Sergio Lopez is going to fight something like that based on what I read about him. Rick Hahn is 1-0, so he has one. He's Lopez is 0-1. Hahn is 1-0. Rick Hahn is bare knuckle. Let's see here. Multi-time judo champion. So Rick Hahn almost made the Olympics in 2008 in judo. That's impressive. Now, yeah, almost made, but hey, look, How many of us humans out there are going to go to Olympic qualifiers and almost make it to the Olympic Games? That's damn impressive. He won 2 different tournaments in Bellator MMA, so he has much MMA experience. And my God, his MMA record is 21-5. So hard not to predict Rick Hahn here, even though I'm really not a predictor yet because I don't know these guys well. But Rick Hahn, 21-5 in MMA. And Sergio, being the Clay Guida style, just goes all in. Now, he could always get a great punch off and win this. No doubt about it. Just like Clay Guida could put anybody out at any second. But if he gets caught by Rick Hahn, lights out, baby. Then we got John Howard. And he is very experienced in MMA. He's 0-0-0 in bare knuckle. He's been in the UFC for 2 different stints, meaning he was in UFC. I don't got his record right now. Worked a while, left, came back again. So anytime Dana White gives you 2 chances in the UFC, you have to be pretty good. You have to impress him in some way. He's 29-19. I said he didn't have his record. I'm wrong. 29-19 in MMA. And he was recently, in 2016, diagnosed as being on the autism spectrum. So he's very supportive of athletes with autism. Very interesting. I want to see this guy just based on that alone, to tell you the truth. Pat Casey, his opponent, is 1-2-0 in bare knuckle. So he has 3 fights within bare knuckle organization. John Howard has none, so big advantage there in my opinion. And his nickname, the Gorilla Ninja. I kind of like it. I like guys with nicknames. I like guys with cool, badass nicknames that work. It's a little bit of a silly nickname, but I kind of like it in the same way. Can you imagine a gorilla as a ninja? That's what I'm picturing here. That makes me want to see his fights. And let me tell you what, he's one of those anytime, anywhere fighters they say about him. He'll take any fight, anytime, anywhere, against anyone. That's always impressive. Next, we have Gary Boletto III versus Rodney Thomas. Rodney Thomas is 1-2-0 in bare knuckle fighting championship. He operates from a distance, meaning he likes to pick his shots. You know, he's not a guy who rushes right in, but he can and will go toe to toe if his opponent pushes him to do so. He calls himself a son of God. He's proud of his religious beliefs and tries to live his life that way. Interesting to see him. Gary Boletto III is 11-3 in MMA. That's a damn impressive MMA record. 11-3. Some of the top fighters in the world don't have a record that good. He was a double champion in what they call classic entertainment in sports. Sounds like a wrestling organization, but I'm pretty sure it's MMA. And he's 4-0-1 in regular boxing. Okay, so this guy, he has no bare knuckle experience. And Rodney Thomas, his opponent, does, with 3 fights in bare knuckle fighting championship. But old Boletto III here is 4-0-1 in regular boxing, which is pretty impressive. That should pretty tight fight there. Next, we got Brennan Ward taking on J.R. Rumley. James Rumley is his name, is better known by J.R. Rumley. He's 4-4 in MMA. Not a terrible record, not a great record, but hey, I can't imagine fighting in MMA. He has great stamina, which anybody in MMA and boxing, you better have great stamina. If you don't, you're going down pretty quick. He has a desire to go far in bare knuckle boxing. Of course, like I said, this is his first fight with this, and so that's going to inspire him to want to win this big time. Okay, he has a desire. He wants to go far. Now, don't all guys? I don't know. Not necessarily. Some of these guys just take a fight here or there, looking for some extra cash, looking to keep working in some way. So not all bare knuckle boxers are looking to become stars in bare knuckle fighting championship or even any other league. They're just out there to make some cash and do the best they can. J.R. Rumley here is looking to go far. Brennan Ward is 19-7-0 in MMA and 1-0 in bare knuckle fighting. My God, these guys, that's not the UFC. It's not necessarily Bellator. It's not one of the top leagues, but 19-7-0 in MMA, that's pretty impressive. He was a top wrestler and Division III national runner-up and with All-American honors. I guess that is in high school. Which still, wrestling, how does that help you with boxing? I don't know. Not with stamina, toughness, rigor, determination. You're not going to ground anybody and outwork them on the mat, like apparently he has done, being 19-7-0 in MMA. But it's going to give him a lot of experience. It's going to give him a lot of passion and desire, and like I said, stamina, and This should be good. J.R. Rumley wanting to get a big win, his first fight in Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, and Brendan Moore, being the athlete that he is and having one match, 1-0 in Bare Knuckle. This should be a tight match against two very solid, experienced guys. Okay. Take a look at the next fight. The next match, if you will, is Jorgen De Castro taking on Josh Watson. Josh Watson is 7-4 in MMA. This will be his 5th fight in Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. He is 3-1, which is damn impressive. So I've seen people get title shots, 4 or 5 matches in the victory column. This guy's 3-1. He's working his way there, in my opinion, and what it looks like. None of his fights have ever gone the distance. Mr. Dangerous here in Josh Watson. No joke. None of his fights have gone the distance. He has a major upset victory over former NFL player and UFC fighter Greg Hardy. And that is impressive. Greg Hardy, very good. Greg Hardy came into Bare Knuckle. They sort of gave him a feature fight against Josh Watson here, and Josh Watson put him on his ass. So this Josh Watson is one to take very seriously. Where Jorgen De Castro here, he's an experienced MMA fighter and the current Cage Titan heavyweight champion. I don't know anything about Cage Titans. That might be on the UFC network that they have. I don't know. I used to subscribe to that, but like I said, I haven't watched UFC in a number of years. I've watched a fight here, a fight there, but I've not sat down and watched a UFC show in years. Again, I don't think they're bad. I give anybody credit who makes it into the UFC, all the credit and respect in the world, but I prefer Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship far and away to UFC. That's just my personal taste. So we'll see what De Castro can do here. But Josh Watson sounds like a beast to me. This is the co-main event in the heavyweight division. I expect this to be a literal banger for sure. We are up to the main event. Parker Porter against Dylan Kleckler. Parker, as you can see here, is 1-0 in bare knuckle fighting. Dylan Kleckler is 3-1. He was 11-1 in MMA. Some of these guys' MMA records are mind-blowing. Again, it's not the top 2 leagues in the world. So, I guess you can take something away from them for that. But no, I'm sorry. Even if it's professional MMA and you're 11-1, you're an ass kicker. His only loss was a title fight, and it's been 1 year since that loss for Kleckler, and he's coming back, wanting to avenge himself, wanting to get back up there, maybe go for a bare knuckle championship. Should be impressive. Parker Porter is 14-9 in MMA, and he's been in the UFC since 2020. He's 1-0 in bare knuckle fighting. He can start slow. They say he sort of starts slow and measures. Like the first round, maybe the first round and a half, 2 rounds, he's measuring. He's trying to get his shots in. He's trying to, be a sort of a defensive fighter. But when he is ready, they say when he's measured up and he feels like he's got Kleckler or whoever his opponent is figured out, then look out. He's coming after him, and he's coming after him to take him down. And that should be a huge main event. 1-0 versus 3-1 in the heavyweight division. Porter and Kleckler headlining this card. Should be good stuff. That is 8 fights on this show tonight here on June 14, 2024. Just go to BKFC.com. Click on the events, sign up. It's like $7.99 a month, and you get all their shows. You can sit back and watch them live. You can sit back and watch them later. It is great stuff. It is on Fire Stick, and I can watch it up in my living room if I want. I don't have to sit here on my computer where I film these videos. I can do it however I want to do it, and I'm loving it, baby. Like I said, I was known as the wrestling snob in pro wrestling. I followed wrestling literally all over the world, trying to put out and discuss only the best matches, only the best wrestlers. But I've taken that and I've thrown it away for bare knuckle fighting championship. And you're talking to a guy who never dreamed he'd say something like that. So I am excited for this show. Hopefully you are too. Hopefully you can get on board with me. Those of you who know these guys and these fights better than me, forgive my noob status and my ignorance. I'll get there as I continue to watch this stuff with all of my heart, with my eyes peeled every second of every match. But if you can help me along the way, that'd be great. And those of you that might be new too are wondering what in the hell the wrestling snob's talking about, Wrestling Snob is dead. It was a nice run. I'm now all about Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Come on for this ride, because this is as real as it gets, and anybody can win at any moment. There's no surrender. There's no escape. Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Let's watch it together tonight, June 14th, 2025. Hope to see you there.